I'm Lokesh.
And I'm Ananya.
Welcome to our brand new series called How I Raised the Bar, brought to you by our very own Bar of Chalk, where we talk about the journey of an entrepreneur from bake to brand.
Today we have with us Kshiti Mehta, the founder of Cookie Co. Born to a very attractive Parsi mother and an ambitious Gujarati father, Kshiti inherited her love for desserts and a keen business sense from her parents. She spent the most thrilling part of her life studying in US, first at Purdue University and then doing her masters from Harvard University. That's quite impressive.
Correct. And she chose to leave her job despite having 6 incredible years of experience in some of the greatest manufacturing and food businesses out there. Soon after, Cookieco was born. Let's hear her inspirational story on how she raised the bar of cookies in India.
Hey Kshiti, how are you?
Hi Ananya, I'm good. How are you?
You're fine. So we really wanted to know how a weekend is different for a baker like you.
So up till now, we work from a cloud kitchen at home. And being a person from a family, having my own family, I always made sure that Sundays were meant for family. And I also have a women-led operations. So considering that, always kept our Sundays free. But now that we have moved into a retail segment, the whole game shift. Now Sunday has become like our new weekday. So it's definitely a shift, and it's only been a couple of days, but we are getting through it. We just have to mentally prepare ourselves that this is the part and parcel of our business, and industry calls for this kind of, it demands for this type of work on a weekend because it's one of our peak hours. Sunday is a peak day for families going out and grabbing by, going to places like Cookie Co. So we have to be, from a business standpoint, that's what makes sense, to be present out there, doing what else is doing at one point. Just have to really be prepared.
Yeah. Talking about industry, like I'm very curious to know what made you shift from such a successful career in US to baking?
So having a successful career doesn't exactly correlate to being happy. And most of us sort of, go in that zone of, oh, I'm successful and I'm happy. It's sort of, it goes hand in hand. And it took me 10 years to realize while I was pursuing my career in finance and strategy. All my studies have been around finance, accounting, marketing. So I went with the flow. I was enjoying the freedom I had in US, FT pay. You could take vacations on weekends. You had long weekends, and you were your own, person enjoying the income. But then at one point, a saturation does come. You start questioning yourself. There is a lot of introspection that happens. And that's when I started asking this question to myself, that I'm always looking forward to a Saturday or a Sunday. Then from Monday to Friday, I'm just wasting my time, trying to wait for the Saturday and Sunday to come through. And of course, it was a gradual transition. I wouldn't say food has always been my passion. As a schoolgirl, it was my dream to open a bakery, a cute little bakery, in Baroda, and enjoy that. But of course, I wasn't sure how sustainable it would be. Being in culinary industry is very challenging. And so I always said it's nice to have a backup. A business background is always nice. So I started working with a manufacturing firm called Cummins. I worked there for 3 years in US itself in the headquarters. Did a lot of heavy finance analysis and forecasting and everything. So that gave me a lot of understanding of how a business operates financially. And then slowly and steadily, I decided that maybe being in finance, I can still switch to a different industry. So then I moved to the food industry, where I worked for another company, Uno Chicago Grill, that was based in Boston. It's a $500 million franchise business, company owned and franchise. And that's where I started gaining understanding of how food business operates, like a restaurant business. I was working in the CEO's team as a senior finance analyst, and I worked there for 3 years and gained a lot of experience about how a food business is different from any other industry. And that's when then I pursued my master's in entrepreneurship. So it was a gradual progression towards what I wanted to do. And then, of course, we had planned that 15 years are good enough in US. So want to go back to India. You know, my husband also wanted to join his family business. We both worked in finance industry for quite some time, but then we wanted to sort of shift to having our own businesses. We wanted to try that out as well. So we thought we'll give India a chance. We'll give it a 3-4 year chance, and then we'll see how it goes. But now we're stuck here because we're enjoying it here. I have my own business. My husband loves his side of the business. So we're quite settled now. But it was always a gradual transition. I wouldn't say it was one night thing. We decided we wanted to move to India, and that's when I decided, okay, so I'll test the pulse of the market and see what works, what doesn't work. And that's when I saw a very big gap in cookie industry in India. There's a misconception across what a cookie is. People confuse it with biscuits. People don't know a cookie can be consumed as a dessert. And as a student, as a finance professional there, I have lived on cookies. You know, that's been my soul food. Every time that I was low, every time that I was happy, I would go to my favorite store and grab a freshly baked cookie. So something I missed here. And that's when I decided that 1 year being in India, I decided to start Cookieco.
It's amazing how you came up with it to fill that kind of gap that India had when it comes to cookies. But
I will use this side, my business experience, my finance experience into whatever I did in the food industry. I did not want to call myself as a culinary artist or anything because I'm not one. I don't have that qualification. Yeah. But I knew how to run. I knew what the tricks and tricks of how an operation can be. Operations are done in, in a restaurant business. So I think that experience definitely gave me the confidence to start something on my own. And we started with a very small, a casual thing of, starting from my mother-in-law's kitchen. And I thought we'll test how it goes. And then in 2 months, we were literally out of capacity and I had to move into a cloud kitchen. And that's when I started seeing the growth and prospects of, what cookie. So it was a gradual process.
Yeah, this I know for sure. I wanted to know more about it because everyone talk about how tech startups and how to build a product, you must start with an MVP, a king product, And I remember Cookieco, as you said, it started with 4-5 cookies. And from there to now, a whole range of bakery products. What has been this journey been like?
My journey has always been, it started with an MVP, like you said. Yeah, exactly. We had a most viable product, we knew this is what we'll test. And I was ready to face the challenge of criticism. I mean, the challenges of, being criticized thoroughly. Luckily, luckily my products initially, the MVP was appreciated. And I think the advantage I had was the first mover advantage, Nobody knew what a cookie would taste like. Only I knew, or people who've traveled and had cookies in US would understand. But otherwise, a lot of people did not know what, and in fact, I had to explain to people what a cookie is. Now people do differentiate between a cookie and a biscuit and a naan katai. But initially, it's like, oh, you're doing a business of naan katai. Oh, it's a biscuit. I actually sit them through and explain the whole process. So it was challenging initially. But also because I had the first mover advantage, I had the time to build my MVP and get something best out of it. So we kept evolving. There is always, even today, if you ask the customer who oldest customer, they will see how our products have evolved over time. So I would say that it's a process of evolving your product all the time. You can't really have one MVP and one final version of it. It keeps evolving. Especially in the food business, you have to be very trend conscious. You have to listen to your customers. You have to get their feedback. So I think while it was challenging to get criticism initially, it was also, I took it in the right spirit because that helped me build the best product. And we started with 4 to 5 cookies initially because even I was learning. Because for me, it was more like I knew the taste of what a cookie should be. But I had no sampling, nothing over here. So all the recipes and everything, it took us almost 3 to 4 months to get the final version of the recipe. And that base gives us, the leverage to, build on those recipes and create newer recipes. And now we make sure that these base recipes help us build, other flavors that are very internationally, internationally, uh, like, we take a lot of cultures in mind when we are building our flavors. And, wherever I've traveled, I remember the flavors desserts I've had, and I would try to incorporate that into my flavors. And that is the USP of our product. We always keep evolving, and every time you have a cookie cake or a cookie that's made, you come to know that it's either the same or it's better.
Truly an entrepreneur's journey. So I think Ananya had one question in her mind. Ananya?
Yes, actually, as you said, you are totally involving every day. So I'm pretty sure your little cookie monster is your first customer every time. So can you tell us your journey of motherhood, how it played into your journey of entrepreneurship? So that every mother who's hearing this podcast now can gain inspiration from you.
I think I was a mom of a 1-year-old when I started this company. So I've been through COVID, raising a child, raising my child, and also, nurturing the company that I had started earlier. So I would say that no matter what, just show up. You may be having a bad day at home, but don't just, no matter how bad your day is or how hectic it is, just show up at work. Because sometimes just showing up makes a lot of difference, and try to ask for help. It's very important. Like my mother-in-law, my mom, my husband, they've been such a huge part to play. They have such a huge part to play in Kukiko, is because as an entrepreneur, I don't see myself as a mom when I'm working. So I don't mix two things. I'm an entrepreneur, not a mompreneur or, those things. I'm an entrepreneur, so I have to give best to both the sides of my life, because, both are my babies. So at that point of time, having a strong support system and asking for help is very important. Put your pride aside and ego aside, and because when you're at work, you're constantly thinking about your child, and that happened to me earlier on. And that guilt would kill me. But now I feel that if my child is in right hands, I'm happier at I'm able to manage both. And second thing is be realistic about. I've set realistic expectations. Like, there are days when you may not see your kid or you may not spend the best time with them, but that's okay. Then you have other time to make it up. So, try to give your business the same kind of importance that you're giving your child, because both need to grow. Both need to grow together.
So is Shivansh a fan or a critic of his mother?
He's both. Yesterday only, when he walked into the store, he had 10 things to tell me about how I could change and make things better. Like a very small example I'll give you. We have a small pathway to the oven, and the concept is that you see your cookie being baked right in the front of house. So as a customer walks in, if he chooses a cookie that needs to be fresh, then we bake in front of him or her. So when he saw that happening, he told me first thing is that, Mom, there is a way to the oven and it's quite hot. So you please put it's hot sign or something over there.
That's quite an insight.
Yeah.
The cookies are taking too long to bake, customers will not wait.
Yes.
And such little things that they observe.
He's already been a critic, but I feel like, he was one since I started. So he's been used to me tackling both the things. So, he's quite used to me not being around, or, I'm at work, I'm at home. He knows what I do. He proudly talks to his friends about what I do. So that makes me happy that, there's something about it, that he understands. And we don't give that much credit as they do, because they are much smarter than we think they are. So
That's so sweet.
He's adapted pretty well.
So, ma'am, as this industry is growing right now. So we would love to have some tips from you for the entrepreneurs out there who's hearing this podcast. So since they have, especially in the pandemic, we have seen that people are moving from dalgonas to dekwas and from kovachas to cookies. So they are basically moving from being a home baker to professional. So what kind of tips would you suggest for these new upcoming entrepreneurs out there?
Specifically food industry is what you say?
So baking industry, food industry, and in general, entrepreneurship.
In general, I would say that, you may start small and everybody starts small, but always keep a vision in mind, a 5-year goal, or have a vision that is bigger than you, because when you have that, you're constantly, and when you constantly think about it, eventually you work towards it. So never think that because you're starting at a small scale, it will not grow. Always big vision in mind, so that when you're starting, you're already thinking about that vision and executing a plan that gets you to the goal. If not in 5 years, then in 7 years, but at least you reach there. Otherwise, you may get and you may start digressing, and that happened with me during the pandemic. It was a rough time, and I started. There were a lot of influencing factors, overall, that sort of, I felt like, this is it for Cookie Co. But I knew that I needed to open a store and I have to multiply. And keeping that vision in mind gave me a lot of encouragement and motivation to continue what I was doing. Because it's not what your current efforts matter in the future. So whatever you do, have a big vision in mind. That is the most important thing. Secondly, passion can go only that. Like, passion goes a long way, but with passion, there has to be a sense of how will you keep your business sustainable and how will you eventually make money? How will you make your business profitable? And I think that is something I had it in me because I've done finance, I've done accounting, finance analysis is, used to be my bread and butter. So I knew, but I know that a lot of people don't have that skill set. So then in that case, it's always nice to, take help from other finance professionals to help you understand how can you, streamline your process. So you can make your business profitable and also scalable. Profitable and scalability. Those two things are very important. And when you start small, it's very important about those aspects. That how will you make your business scalable and profitable? So always ask for technical help as well, because that will give you good clarity and understanding of, okay, you want to go from A to B, you're going to get there, And when I talk about scalability, I feel it's very important to delegate also. You can't, as an owner, as a passion-driven project, it used to be, I used to be everywhere. Like I used to be part of every processes in the business. But now at a point, I realized that, always prioritize big tasks, versus smaller tasks. And delegate smaller tasks to your employees, train your people to be independent, without you, and you focus on business development or whatever your forte is. So that way, you're not all over the place, and your business is self-sustainable. So when you're about to scale your business, you have a good team already, trained and inbuilt, that you grow the business together.
That's some really valuable insights for budding entrepreneurs like us too. And finally, we must ask, given the name of our podcast, we would love to know how you raise the bar of cookies in India. And you talked about vision. So I would personally like to know, what is your vision for the future of Cookie Co?
Our vision for Cookie Co is creating a culture. How CCD and many other brands have created a culture. Who would have thought that, you could walk into a barista or a CCD and, enjoy a good cup of coffee while having a nice conversation. Something like was not even there 20 years. But you know, Mr. Siddhartha changed that for India. And I feel like, you know, cookie has that scope. Like, you know, cookie is such a versatile dessert. It's so travel friendly. You know, it is so fuss free. I have a feeling that eventually it could become a nice coffee. You know, it could be a good culture. And through Cookie Co, we want to create a community out of it. You know, we want people to love our products, but we also want people to have memories around it. And that's what happened. That's how I know it back. I have memories around cookies, you know, having freshly baked cookies being served at our dormitory while we were studying late night. You know, me, my roommates, and other neighbors, and like, you know, fight over that one last of the white chocolate macadamia or a chocolate. I have memories, and those memories, I can still smell the cookie. I still have that taste in my mind. So those kind of want people to experience it in India, and that is where we come into play. Our target market is also the Gen Z population. You know, the impact. So the kind of language we use, even when we are branding, all targeted towards the Gen Z population, because you know, we feel like there's a lot of opportunity there to create that, you know, through social media outlets across India eventually, hopefully. So it's not just about having a cookie, it's about the experience of it. That's what we want to do.
Absolutely.
That's great, ma'am. It's the way you told us, it shows how much passionate you are about this brand or this business, etc. So you made my mouth water actually by describing. So, ma'am, we will move on to our next segment, which is called the No Holds Barred. This is a segment where we would love to know the person behind the brand. So basically, it's our version of Humans of Advertising. So we will be asking you a few questions and you have to answer it as fast as you can.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yes.
So, last song on your playlist?
Last song on my playlist. Gosh. Oh, what was it?
Or last song that you heard?
Like the last song I heard. It was Charlie song. Charlie Puth song. Attention.
Okay.
That was
The last,
not the song in my playlist, but that's
it's okay, ma'am. It's fine. We love. So last series you watched?
last series I watched. Schitt's Creek.
A very nice series. What would you consider to be your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. A nice cake, like a chocolate, nice chocolate.
Isn't that one for everyone?
So we have a question for that as well. Cake or cookie?
Sorry?
Is it cake or cookie if you are given a choice?
Cookie.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Achievement that you are most proud of?
Cookie Co.
Nice. And who would you consider to be your idol?
My idol. I would say, most recently, I would say Pooja Dhingra.
Oh,
How she's carrying
absolutely.
the 15.
True.
And the last question, was the first thing that comes to your mind when I talk about a bar of chocolate?
It's the best chocolate I've had, locally sourced, and I love the flavor palette it has. It's gooey, melts in your mouth, and I just love it.
Thank you so much, Kshiti. It has been a pleasure interacting with you, and we are sure that the expertise and the journey you have shared with us will help make the world a better place.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me, Ananya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, so much for sharing your story and inspiring all the entrepreneurs who have just heard how you raised the bar. Thank you.
Thank you very much.